Welcome, everyone. I'm Crystal Gilbert with Divine Wellness, and tonight we get the privilege to chat with Martina, who's one of our wellness partners, and she's going to share on manifesting your dreams and goals. And she's been doing amazing with this, has a lot of experience with it. Welcome, everyone. I am Crystal Gilbert. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and shoot it over to you, Martina. And thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about manifesting your dreams and goals. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the art of manifestation is it's bringing your desires to life. So it kind of sounds magical, right? That thinking that we can just, manifest these things and that they actually happen. And I actually get goosebumps even talking about it because I've had my own experience with manifesting, and I've actually seen these things happen in my own life. And so then I'm now in a place where I share with others this same thing, because I think it's so important to people to realize the power that our minds have, the power that we have as people. Like, we have so much power as humans to manifest the things that we want out of this life. And before I begin, just sharing a little story about a couple of clients that I've had in the last little while. People will come to me and they will say that they don't dream. They don't have dreams. They didn't think they should have dreams. Like, they never thought that was something that they could do in their lives. And it broke my heart to think that people think that they go through life and that they shouldn't dream and they shouldn't have goals, and that just this is the life they're stuck in. And so that's been even more of like a reason of why this work is so important, is to share with people on the power of our minds and the power that we have to take control of our lives. So before we get into some tips, I'll just briefly share with you a little bit of my own experiences with manifesting, and my more recent one that Crystal and I were actually just talking about. So my first kind of manifestation in the last, I would say, year, probably, my first one was I decided to start my own business. And so with that came a lot of judgment and from my family and friends of like, well, why would you want to do that? It's not going to be successful. Like, all the naysayers, right? And that's actually part of our tips later on. But and I think one of my first kind of barriers with my small business is that my husband wasn't on board. He thought it was kind of silly. He didn't think it was going to work. And so it took me a long time to so I started manifesting. I started saying, writing in my journal, my husband supports my business. My husband believes in me and my business. And so I started manifesting those things, and it didn't take too long before then all of a sudden I would hear him say things. I'm like, what did you just say? and he became so supportive, and he's my biggest supporter now. And he's given me the courage and love and support to know that I can move forward with my business, and I have his support. So that was something that I manifested that worked out really crazily, because I didn't think I'd ever get that. So that was my first experience. And then my second one more recently that I am 4 days away from is I have been working in the school system for the last 4 years. And my heart has always been pulled to doing different work, but then the school system was, it was guaranteed income. I had a pension, I had summers off with my kids. Like, there was all these perks that made it very appealing to stay at, right? So kept staying, but kept manifesting, like in my journaling and stuff that I'll talk about here next. Manifesting those things of like, I want this. This is what I want my life to look like. Like, I want to be my own boss. I want to own my own business. And I want it to be successful, like putting all these things out there. And so I am 4 days away from leaving my job, and I will be my own boss, and I will have my own business, and super exciting. So so it works, you guys. Like, this is a good example that this stuff works. Like, it doesn't take overnight. Like my school kind of manifestation of wanting to leave that type of work into the work I want to do now is, it took me 3 or 4 years to manifest that, right? So I think a big important thing about learning manifestation for your dreams and your goals is knowing that it takes time and it takes effort, and like consistent effort. So with that being said, I'm going to go into a couple tips for you guys on if you're wanting to start manifesting and what that could look like for you. So I would start off by picking a small goal, picking something that you can achieve, just so you can start to really see if this is actually going to work for you. Because once you kind of see it happen, then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm all in. And so picking a small goal, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's like, I want to go camping 5 times this summer. And maybe that's something you've never gotten to do previous years. So maybe this year is the year you're gonna like manifest that. Or maybe it's like, you could even pick, like, it's actually kind of fun to even pick either colors or crystals or vehicles. Like, you know, like I've even manifested before of like, I always see rose quartz. And so then everywhere I would go, I would either find rose quartz, or I would see it, or it would be given to me. And just even manifesting those little things, that it doesn't really matter if I find rose quartz or not, but it just kind of lets you know that the universe is there and these things are able to be manifested, right? So picking a small goal. And then my first advice would be to start a gratitude practice. If you don't have a gratitude practice already, just starting your morning with gratitude. So practicing gratitude, writing down all the things that you can be grateful for, and like journaling. And like, when we're talking about gratitude, practicing gratitude, it doesn't have to take long. Like, that's another thing that people don't realize. Like, yes, we want to be consistent with it, but it can take less than 5 minutes a day. So just writing down either things about your family or your life or your body or your environment, you know, any of these things we can be grateful for, right? Like, the list is potentially endless. So that would be my first tip, and just being really consistent with that gratitude practice. And then a second thing would be to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Often when we're given different things at us, like when things in life get thrown at us and they're potentially negative situations, we can take that as negative and sit in it and be like, okay, this sucks, life sucks, why does this always happen? And that kind of like reinforces that situation is negative. But when we're able to turn it around to a positive situation or a positive thought, it's just going to kind of rewire our brain to thinking that, okay, when a negative thought comes in, I'm going to turn it around inside my brain and spit it out as a positive one. Because we do all learn lessons from all of our mistakes and all of our things that happen to us in our life. We may not enjoy them when we're in them, but you do see the other side. So if you can kind of be more mindful of that and kind of turn those things into positive thoughts throughout your day. Like, even if you wake up and you feel, let's say you don't feel good in your clothes today, that could be a negative thought that your mind tells you, but then you can turn it around and be like, well, you know what? I should be grateful that I have clothes, that I have choices in my clothes. Like, we can spin it, anything around to being positive, right? So that's just something to kind of be mindful of as you're going throughout your days as well. And then another tip would be to step outside of comfort zones. So fear is something that holds us back from manifesting. It holds us back from obtaining our dreams and our goals. And so if we're able to come from a place of being able to like transform that fear into courage, which is then going to help us to step outside of comfort zones and do things that we might not normally do to help us to grow. And when we're growing, we're one step closer to achieving those goals or dreams or manifestations that we set out for ourselves. And then another big practice for me that has helped is meditation. And meditation for me it's not even the sense of meditating about, it's not even like, it's when I'm meditating about my manifestations, it's more of like meditating, but then having it in my head of whatever that dream or goal is, I'm going to meditate on that. So, you could have your crystals or aromatherapy to go with those, which could be a whole nother thing, but just meditating with that thought of that dream or goal, but then meditating with what that feels like as if you've already reached that goal. So, for example, for my situation of meditating on what is it going to feel like when I work for myself, when I am my own boss, when I don't work at the school, how will my life look? And just kind of meditating on those feelings, and just which goes to like the negative thoughts too. Like all these things are ways that we can rewire our brain into thinking positively, telling our brain that this is what I want to happen in my life. So this is happening, and this is how I feel once this has happened. So it's just very powerful stuff that small things you can do every day that doesn't have to take you that long. Like the negative thought process can be just something you catch yourself doing throughout the day. The meditation could just be 5 minutes, once again, either morning or evening. The gratitudes could be morning or evening, just making that list, right? And just getting yourself into a routine of manifesting and consistently working on that goal. And then what else did I have? I had one more thing, is to kind of analyze the people that are in your circle. When we're talking about dreams and goals, if you are around people that aren't necessarily supportive of your goals and your dreams, or that they more bring you down, like they are in the muck and they want to stay there, like they're not willing to come out of the muck where you're trying to rise above, right? So just analyzing who your circle is, and if those people are kind of cheerleaders in your life, or if they're people that want you down with them and they want you to stay there with them. And just looking at that and just being mindful of who your people are. And if you don't have those people, then once again, we go back to the comfort zone thing of like stepping out of your comfort zone and reaching out to those people who you be like, you know what, I really admire that person and I would love to connect with them, and kind of have each other to be a support. And you build beautiful relationships that way. And then you're having people that are all working towards like this big crazy goal and manifesting and doing all the things, and you know that all those people have your back, which is it just gives you that boost of confidence, right, to be like, yeah, I am going to do this. So those are kind of my 5 tips on just like a brief introduction to manifesting and setting goals, and kind of some mindful ways to help you move forward and achieve them. So yeah, I feel like I just like splurted out a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes, but it was wonderful and very like precise too. So it's taking, I think, a big concept, some people, and just paring it down into very simple ways. So thank you so much for that. And everything you said was just spot on. Like I was doing this and I didn't realize I was doing it.
Nice.
So I started with when I had very severe social anxiety. So I also worked in youth groups in the churches I was a part of. And to go to speak or lead or do anything like that would put me into this, panic attack almost. But my heart wanted to do it so much. So I would have my intention, I'd breathe, I'd visualize, and, exactly what you were saying, just with taking a negative emotion and flipping it around. So, and then sure enough, every time it would work out really well.
Yeah.
So realizing, I think we all do this, whether we realize it or not. But when we have this formula, we can go, okay, there we go. And as you were talking, it just hit me that it's really like SMART goals amplified.
Yeah, so absolutely.
SMART goal setting, like just to make it really simplified for people who are new to this concept or think it's so out there. That's really all we're doing, is just getting very clear and intentional, and then letting it go and just putting one foot in front of the other and allowing it to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much to talk about on that topic, but I
I
think
know.
you did very well. And I wanted to make sure and share that you have this amazing little journal that came out not too long ago.
Yeah,
And I'll just go through a little bit, and then if you can
sure.
share what it's about.
Absolutely.
So, the Find Your
Yeah.
Magic, the journey to self-love through journaling. And I love there's affirmations,
Yeah.
these cute little pages in here with poems, and I think it makes self-care work so much more fun.
Yeah,
And their
absolutely.
creativity, that it's not boring. It's very much like, for me, just going through it, I'm like, oh, that really sparks my inner child. Like,
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
good.
So I think everything about it is magical, and I can't wait to dive into that. I have some time set aside starting tomorrow to focus on
Nice.
myself. And yeah, if you can tell everyone a little bit more about that, how to use it and get
Yeah.
out of it, and then
Yeah,
of course
absolutely.
where to get it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a based on like a 7 kind of sectioned journal, and each section kind of goes through different things that we can work on in regards to self-love, because self-love can kind of be this branched out tree, and self-love is at our core, but there's all these different branches that kind of help us to create that self-love for ourselves, which is how we're going to show up more confidently and all that stuff. So it focuses on like our mindset, our confidence, setting boundaries, allowing yourself to forgive and finding forgiveness for either yourself or for those around you. And it focuses on your dreams and goals. There's a section in there for that, and some gratitude section. And then at each kind of end to each kind of branch of the tree, there's going to be like a check-in page that just allows you to kind of set those goals as if they've already happened, writing down some affirmations that are important when you're manifesting too, and just some gratitude. So it kind of allows you to check in every so often and just be like, where am I at now? Like, has my perspective shifted? Am I getting better at this? Like, it's just kind of gives you like a good analyzation, if that's a word, on just how to progress through your self-love journey and just getting to know yourself, right? Yeah, and then at each, like Crystal had mentioned, each beginning of each like on the, let's say the mindset section, you're going to have like affirmations that go with that too. If you're a person that kind of like, I don't know what to say for an affirmation, it gives you kind of some guidance that way too. So it's definitely for someone who wants to journal but doesn't know kind of where to start and feels overwhelmed by just looking at a blank notebook. It just gives you a good start into your self-love journey and your self-discovery and finding your magic.
Yeah. And I just want to throw like just a little bit, like there's self-care circles in here, and flipping it over, there's one about a haiku, writing that. Like,
Yeah.
so for me, like the concept of having to sit there and just write, I love to write, but not when it's about myself.
Yeah.
So these little prompts in here, the little activities that are not just like the blank pages and fill them up, is so amazing for me. So
Yeah.
you definitely spoke to me, and I'm sure for a lot of people who are like, yeah, I get that. That sounds great, but
I know.
this is definitely going to be the tool for them. So
Yeah.
we'll get everyone the link where they
Yeah.
can
I can
get
send
this.
you the link for sure. Sounds
Awesome.
awesome.
All right. And if there's anything else you have to share or say, but I just wanted to thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience and
Yeah.
helping people getting started.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we're good. I'll give you guys a link to the journal, and yeah, we'll see you next time for sure.
All right. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions or comments for Martina, or if you do snag her journal and start using it, make sure to let her know in the comments below.
Yeah.
We'll
That'd be
see